in case.
Uh, l- let's make Beatrice a co-host.
Yeah, sounds
Uh,
amazing.
right, and I'm going to have this live stream on Facebook, and we'll be ready to go when you give me the go ahead.
Yeah, let's do 1 more minute.
Okay.
And then, yeah, because the waiting room is still quite busy. So let's just.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We want to give as
Mhm,
many people the opportunity to get in.
mhm. Correct.
Let's see, Catherine, if you could read and tell us who is joining us from where.
Mhm. Let's see. This is quite exciting. So we've got, wow. We've got Fort Worth, Texas, of course. South Africa, Cameroon, Kenya, Johannesburg, South Africa. Wow, out and about. Okay, Beatrice. Fantastic. Jumbo, everyone from Kenya. Lesotho, Dumelang. Batho ba Lesotho, you're most welcome. This is quite amazing. Okay, I think we should kick it off. Doc, are you fine with that?
Okay, I think I'm live on Facebook, so that's good.
Fantastic.
All right. We'll
Let's
go
do it.
ahead and kick it off and you guys
Thank
could,
you.
yeah, I will give you the spotlight.
Thank you, Doc. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you are. Welcome to this session of our weekly webinars. My name is Dr. Catherine Lipoto. I'm here in Johannesburg. I'm a trained biomedical scientist. And tonight we're going to introduce you to very, very exciting concepts presented by our guest speaker who is joining me from Fort Worth in Texas. So, Doc, we are very, very, very grateful for your time. What you do for us as a movement on this continent is extremely, extremely important. So I'm going to quickly introduce Dr. Dieter Wefwen, who is going to be our guest speaker tonight. Dr. Dieter is a dual board certified physician in internal medicine and pediatrics, and he's a founder of Reclaim Your Health Solutions, which is a virtual functional medicine and metabolic health practice based in Fort Worth, Texas. Dr. Dieter is a proud son of Africa from Cameroon, but he is obviously giving his skills and services to the United States. Dr. Dita is very, very passionate about metabolic health, and this is what he's here to talk to us about tonight. At the beginning, I just want to highlight that the talk today it will not be comprehensive and cover every aspect of good metabolic health. So we understand that lifestyle changes are part of what you need to do in order to recover or reclaim your health. So please understand that and do not expect that if he doesn't touch on the aspects of good metabolic health that you know about, it doesn't mean that we are not concerned about them. I just wanted to put that out there as a disclaimer up front. So Dr. Dieter, I'm going to hand it over to you. What we normally do is we allow the doctor to give his full presentation, and at the end, we're going to have plenty of opportunity for questions. As things come up for you as he's talking, you're welcome to start putting them up in the chat. So please help me and join me in welcoming Dr. Dieter. Use your reaction button to welcome him. Doc, thank you, and over.
Thank you. Thank you. Uh, Kathleen, thank you for that introduction. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for all honoring the honoring the invitation to do here. We also have a fellow co-host with us, Dr. Esther Ngare. She's of Kenyan descent. She's a co-host on, and she will be assisting assisting us on this call tonight to take questions and to share her perspectives. So thank you guys very, very much for being here. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get on with our presentation. And just like you heard from Dr. Catherine, please keep all your questions to the very last minute. We're going to try to answer as many questions as possible. Okay. So, as you heard from Dr. Catherine, those are my credentials. I'm a board certified physician in two disciplines, in internal medicine and in pediatrics. And today, I have this simple question to ask us. And the simple question that I have to ask us is, why are we so sick today? And the answer is simpler than you think. The answer is we eat in ways that harm our body's natural biology. Food is supposed to be medicine, or it could equally be poison. Unfortunately, for most of us, it is the latter. It is poison. We eat in ways that affect two key systems in our body. And what are those two key systems? Those two key systems are how the body makes energy and how the gut functions. These two key systems are the reason why we are so sick today. Entity number one, how the body makes energy, and entity number two are the simplest reasons why we are so sick today. You see, our ancestors never had the modern day diseases that we suffer from today because these two issues were not issues to them. And what I want to do today is to go through, show you how the body makes energy is a reason for why we're sick, and how our gut functions is a reason for why we're sick. I'm going to examine each of them individually. And let's start with how the body makes energy. How the body makes energy is dependent on the hormone called insulin. Insulin is a very critical hormone in our body. Why is insulin a critical hormone in our body? Because it sits central at the body's energy, at securing the body's energy needs. Now, I'm going to explain it this way. This is the job of insulin. Every time that we eat, whatever food or calories we take in results in glucose release after absorption occurs. So glucose is released in the blood, and the job of insulin is to mobilize that glucose out of the blood into the cell. Okay. Now, in the cell, there is a special organelle in the cell called the mitochondria. The mitochondria, you may remember from your junior biology classes, as being called the powerhouse of the cell. What happens is that in the mitochondria, once the glucose arrives in the mitochondria, it goes through a complex series of reactions called the electron transport chain, with the result of the release of an energy molecule called ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate. It's just an energy molecule. Now, every cell in the body requires energy to function. The smallest entity of the body is the cell. Cell group up to form tissues. Tissues group up to form organs. Organ system, and the system forms a whole man. Every single cell in the body needs energy to function. And insulin is so critical because insulin sits at the driver's seat. That's how insulin secures the body's energy needs. Now, because every cell in the body needs energy to function, what happens then when that energy is not there? That's the definition of a disease. The definition of a disease is a group of cells or tissues or organs or system that has malfunctioned because of the lack of energy. It malfunctions because it doesn't have energy to function well, because every cell needs energy to function. Now, there is something that results in that malfunction. When insulin is not able to secure the body's energy needs through this process, when there is a breakdown in this process of insulin mobilizing glucose out of the blood into the cell so that energy can be produced, that breakdown, we call that breakdown insulin resistance. Okay. So when this process cannot take place, we call that insulin resistance. And when you have insulin resistance, all the critical systems that require energy to function can no longer function and diseases begin to set in. So this is a slide that gives you a depiction of disease entities that come as a result of insulin resistance. And I will say this slide is not exhaustive. There are many, many modern day diseases that are not listed on this slide that we can draw a direct line to insulin resistance, the deficiency of energy. I don't have a slide big enough to be able to enumerate all the diseases that come as a result of insulin resistance. So, heart disease, fatty liver, PCOS, cancer. In fact, about 30% of cancers are due to bad luck. The other 70% of cancers are due to insulin resistance. So I want you to understand, if you understand the premise that every cell in the body requires energy to function, and when the cell doesn't have the energy it needs to function, it malfunctions, then you could understand the simplest definition of a disease, a group of cells that have malfunction. Now, you have to ask the question, why do we have a breakdown in this process? Because we were made perfectly and wonderfully by an amazing creator. And what has happened that has caused us to now be suffering these modern day diseases? Because if I gave you a time machine and I asked you to go back 500 years in the past to look at how our ancestors live, you're going to come back to me and say, Doc, I went back 500 years in the past with this time machine you gave me. I never found a single of my ancestors 500 years ago with high blood pressure or with diabetes or with obesity. So what changed? You have to ask the question. Why then do we have all these issues in modern day society? And what changed is actually the way we eat. Remember, I mentioned in here that we eat in a way that has caused the body to be able, we eat in a way that has caused insulin resistance, or we eat in a way that has affected how the body makes energy. How is that? Currently, in today's day and age, we are consuming about 35% more calories than our ancestors did 500 to 1,000 years ago. The saying is single can of a soda. There is more sugar in that single can of a soda than your ancestors and my ancestor would have consumed their whole entire life. We are eating way more calories than our ancestors did. Uh, we're eating 3 meals a day and snacking throughout the day. They say the average person in the West now, and that may not only be the West, even in Africa, is eating about 11 times a day, snacking throughout the day, eating like vultures. And what that happens is, what that translates to is consuming an excess amount of calories. Now, listen to this. Every time you eat, every time you bring something into your system of caloric value, it's going to be converted into glucose. And every time it's converted into glucose, insulin is going to be called into action. Every time. So imagine if we're now consuming 35% more calories. It means that we are putting insulin to work 35% of the time. Dr. Catherine, if you had a job and your employer told you on this job you're going to work 35% overtime every day, what's going to happen to you? You're going to get burnt out. And when you get burnt out, you're no longer going to be an effective employee. And when you're not an effective employee, your productivity drops. So, because in today's day and age, we are now consuming 35% more calories, we are causing insulin to do this process, go to work 35% over time. When insulin gets burnt out, insulin is no longer effective in securing the body's energy needs. And that is the definition of insulin resistance. Now, let's talk about the second entity, how the gut functions. The gut functions depends solely on the population of bacteria in the gut, especially the healthy bacteria. Now, you may not know this, but in your gut is a population of about 30 to 100 trillion bacteria that live in the gut. They have a special name called the microbiome. They live in a 50-50% proportion. 50% of this bacteria are what we call bad bacteria. And the other 50% of the bacteria that live in our gut are what we call good bacteria. They balance each other out. And the health of the gut is dependent on this critical 50-50% balance. Our gut is supposed to do a lot of things for us. They say our gut is like our second brain. When your gut is healthy, it prevents you from many other disease entities. Remember, I said that the reason we are sick today is because of how we make energy and how our gut functions. Now, in our gut resides the immune system. You may not know it, but 70% of the body's immune system resides in the gut. And the other 30% of the immune system resides in the bone marrow, the lymph nodes, the lymphatic. And our gut is responsible for training and regulating our immune system. Your immune system is supposed to defend you against a foreign invader or against a threat. When your gut is healthy, the immune system does just that. It helps to defend you against threats. When your gut is not healthy, instead of the immune system defending you against threats, the immune system turns its attack on you and now begins to attack you instead of defending you. And that's how you develop autoimmune diseases. The gut also plays a role in other functions, helps to protect you from other disease causing bacteria. But very, very important is that immune regulation. When the gut is in balance, you have immune regulation. When the gut is out of balance, you have immune dysregulation. The immune system turns against you. Now, there is something we call gut imbalance. And gut imbalance is a scenario where the bad bacteria in the gut now outnumber the good bacteria. So you have a loss in the 50-50% proportion. And normally the bad bacteria, as we say, are supposed to be 50%, and the good bacteria are supposed to be 50%. When gut imbalance happens, what happens is the bad bacteria increase in number to 70% and the good bacteria decrease in number to 30%. That gut imbalance, that gut imbalance comes as a result of the shortage of food. You see, this is the perfect scenario when what causes it to go from perfection to imperfection is shortage of food. And you may ask, what do you mean by shortage of food, doc? Food is aplenty now. The shortage of food is a specific type of food. You see, every living organism, and it's a shortage of food for the bacteria in the gut. Every living organism needs nutrients to survive. And the nutrients for the bacteria in the gut is fiber. A lion in a jungle needs food, a bacteria in your gut needs food, and the food for the bacteria in the gut is fiber. Now, unfortunately, In today's day and age, our foods are so processed, devoid of fiber. And because our foods are devoid of fiber, there is a shortage of fiber for the bacteria in the gut. Now, anytime there is a shortage of food, it sets into motion survival of the fetus, scramble. If you think about when the UN is delivering aid to war-torn areas or disaster-stricken areas, when they drop down the food or the aid, you see there's a scramble for people trying to get what they can get. It's the same thing that happens in the gut. Because of the shortage of food, there is scramble. Now, that's survival of the fetus that causes that scramble. In the survival of the fetus fight, the bad bacteria, the stronger bacteria. So the bad bacteria win the survival of the fetus fight and hoard all the little food that is there to themselves, the little fiber that is there to themselves. And then they say, you know what? We are the stronger guys, but we don't have enough food to feed our mouths, the bad guys, and the mouths of the good guys. So let's do this. Let's increase our army to keep a monopoly on this food. And so they now increase their army at the expense of the good bacteria. And when you have that, we say God imbalance. Just to give you a perspective of what I mean by shortage of food or shortage of fiber. This is statistics in the United States, but I'm sure that some of these statistics are similar to statistics in Africa and in other parts of Europe. Europeans and Africans may consume a little bit more fiber than Americans, but not enough still, and the cause of our modern day diseases. The average man is supposed to consume 38 grams of fiber a day, and the average woman is supposed to consume about 25 grams of fiber a day. In the United States, the estimation by the NIH is that the average man and woman is taking in about 10 to 12 grams of fiber a day, which is less than 50% of the required daily intake. Our ancestors, estimates say that our ancestors were consuming anywhere from 80 to 90 grams of fiber a day. Now, if fiber is so important, and now there is a shortage of fiber that results in gut imbalance, that gut imbalance then drives disease entities that come as a result of that. On this slide, you will see many autoimmune diseases like lupus, Hashimoto's, celiac, multiple sclerosis, because the immune system has now turned against you because of gut imbalance. There are many other entities on here, and there's some entities that are not on here because, again, I cannot find a slide big enough to enumerate everything. Colon cancer, you may be surprised. It was on there, and you had cancer on here too. You know, there are strong studies now linking the absence of fiber to colon cancer because our foods are so processed. I want to highlight two disease entities which I found surprising when I first learned about the science. Anxiety and depression. Did you guys know that principally anxiety and depression came from the gut? That I found to be surprising when I learned about it. You see, there is a hormone called serotonin. Serotonin is what we call our happy hormone or our mood hormone. And did you know that 90% of that hormone is produced in the gut? 90%. The other 10% of serotonin is produced in the central nervous system. In medical school, I thought that all of serotonin was produced in the central nervous system in the brain, but 90% is produced in the gut. So if 90% is produced in the gut and you have gut imbalance, it means that the factory is not working. That 90% cannot be produced. You're now having your body rely only on 10%, a huge deficiency of the happiness and mood hormone. You get anxiety and depression. Now, these are the reasons why we are so sick today. Because We eat in ways that have affected how the body makes energy and how our gut functions, which has resulted in these modern day diseases that 500 to 1,000 years ago our ancestors did not have. Now there is hopeful science out there that as much as these two entities are the reason why we are sick, there is now an overwhelming amount of scientific evidence, strong scientific evidence, that if you were to go back and restore the way the body makes energy and restore the balance of the gut, which were the two entities that resulted in many of the modern day illnesses that we are facing. If you were able to restore those two things, which caused an energy deficiency, then the restoration of those two things causes the restoration of the energy deficiency. And the diseases that then came as a result of the energy deficiency now get reversed. And I like to give this analogy of driving a car and the car runs out of fuel. That car is gonna stop because its energy source is gone, not because of intrinsic failure of the engine. If you were to go to a petrol station and bought petrol in a gallon and went back to your car on the side of the road and put petrol back in that car is gonna start again. In fact, I ran out of gas a couple of times, as embarrassing as it can be. When I put gas back in my car, I do not have any apprehension. Oh, is this car going to start? I hope it's going to start. No, that thought doesn't even cross, it doesn't come to my mind, because I know the problem was energy. I give it back its petrol, it starts working again. It is that simple, but that's so profound. Remember the definition of a disease: a group of cells, tissues, organs, or system that has malfunctioned because of the lack of energy. You restore that energy, you give it what it needs to function. Just like that car roars back to life again and you hear the beautiful sound of the engine, your body knows how to restore itself when you give it the energy it needs. And so I want to present to you guys a nutraceutical product that has become a very favorite tool for me as a physician in helping people to do just that, to reclaim their health again. Now, this product is called the Feel Great System and made up of two plant-based products. It's called a nutraceutical because it is made 100% from plants and has huge therapeutic benefits, way more than the nutritional benefits. And what we're going to do here is we're going to use the science of intermittent fasting. This product uses the science of intermittent fasting, which I'll abbreviate as IF, and fiber supplementation to reverse the energy problem, the insulin resistance, and reverse the gut imbalance. How does it do it? Let's start with the very first product here called Unimate. This product is made from a plant native to South America called the yerba mate plant, and it's rich in a special phytonutrient called chlorogenic acid. Now, what chlorogenic acid is, it's categorized as a polyphenol, and it has a very special property that it causes your body to release this hormone, which many of you may have heard of, glucagon-like peptide 1 hormone. You know about this GLP-1s and things like Ozempic, Mounjaro, Zepbound, and what have you. Now, let me show you what this does. First of all, our body makes GLP-1s, this hormone, naturally. The pharmaceutical industry has gone into our body, removed the hormone, that hormone, and made a synthetic clone to help people to lose weight. But if you eat the right foods, it can cause you to produce that. And one of the properties of GLP-1s, which we're going to use here to help reverse the energy problem, is that GLP-1 is a satiety hormone. It causes you not to feel hungry. Now, we want to use the science of intermittent fasting to try to reverse this problem. Why do we want to use the science of intermittent fasting to reverse this problem? And how does the GLP-1 property of that assist us in doing so? You see, remember in the earlier part of our talk, I said that we have eaten in a way that has caused, we're consuming 35% more calories. It has caused insulin to become burnt out. And because insulin has gotten burnt out, insulin is no longer able to secure the body's energy needs. You have this breakdown. Dr. Catherine, I did pick on you and I'll pick on you again. If you get burned out from your job because your employer has worked you as a horse and you've gotten burnt out from working 35% of the time, the best way you're going to recuperate from your burnout is if you rest. Correct? Rest. So, what intermittent fasting does is that intermittent fasting gives insulin a chance to rest. Because when you're fasting, you're not bringing in calories. When you're not bringing in calories, this process is not taking place. Insulin doesn't have to go to work and it is resting. So, we want to use intermittent fasting to give insulin a rest. And I'll go back to our ancestors. Our ancestors maybe ate 1.5 meals a day, not the 3 meals a day we're having, and then eating throughout the day in between meals like vultures. Our ancestors never ate like vultures. So we want you on this system to fast for 16 hours. As I said, our ancestors ate a meal and a half a day. And how do you fast for 16 hours? We want you to make breakfast extinct. No longer eat breakfast. The notion that breakfast is the most important meal of the day is not true. That was a slogan brought on to sell breakfast cereal. It is not true. Breakfast is a meal that we do not need, and that notion that is the most important meal of the day is just a selling point. So we want to have you fast, and the best way of fasting for 16 hours is make breakfast extinct and reduce yourself to 2 meals a day. I said our ancestors ate a meal and a half a day. I want us to reduce to 2 meals a day, lunch and dinner, and not no longer eat breakfast. Why? Because when you do that, you're resting your insulin. And the more you rest your insulin, the more insulin recuperates from its 35% burnout. When it recuperates, it could now be an effective employee and its productivity goes back up to secure the body's energy needs, which is what we want. So let's say you begin this discipline of intermittent fasting and you've now reduced to lunch and dinner, and you have dinner at 7 p.m. at night, and you go to bed at 10 p.m. and you wake up at 7 a.m. From 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. is already 12 hours. 8 of those hours that you spent fasting, you've already been fasting for 12 hours. And 8 of those hours that you spent fasting, you were sleeping in those 12 hours. 8 of them you were sleeping. So we now want to help you extend your fast by another 4 hours to get to 16 hours, because remember, the longer insulin rests, the longer it could recuperate from the burnout. And what the Unimate does, because it produces GLP-1, every time you take it, it goes and suppresses the hunger center of the brain. So for people who are not able to fast without feeling they're about to die or the world is about to come to an end, it takes away strength and willpower from fasting and makes fasting seamless. So I'll demonstrate to you how I take this product. So I take the Unimate. I wake up in the morning and I take the Unimate once a day, once in the morning. So I wake up in the morning. This bottle, when you order this product, it comes in this bottle, and it asks you to feel. It has a graduation here of the Unimate. So what I do, this product comes in the powder form, and that is it right here. I'm going to demonstrate to you guys. I just fill the bottle. I don't have enough water, so but I fill the bottle to this to the Unimate level, and I just pour in the powder into it. And after pouring in the powder into it, all I do is I shake it up. And after shaking it up, it's ready to go. All I do is take little sips of this every 10 to 15 minutes for 4 hours. Just take a little sip. Each time you sip on it, it's going to cause the body to have a short burst of GLP-1 produced. That GLP-1 that is produced is going to go to your hunger center of your brain and make you not hungry. The lifespan of the GLP-1 that is produced is anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. So short bursts of that. So it can carry you on for 4 hours of not eating, and you extend your fast to 12 hours. Do you extend your fast to 16 hours? The longer you have fasted now, the longer you have kept insulin in the resting state, it recuperates from its burnout. So I want to say this in Africa and in Europe, you guys have a little bit of a different package. In Africa, you guys have, when you order this product, you have one of the Unimate. In the United States, when you order the product, you can have two Unimate, one balance, or or two balance, one Unimate. So here in the States, what I do is I have two Unimate, one balance. So what I do is I make a first bottle of this and I sip it out throughout breakfast. You don't gulp it all at once. I sip it every 10 to 15 minutes. It helps me fast for 4 hours, extends my fast to 16 hours until it gets me to lunch. By lunchtime, this bottle is empty. After the bottle is empty at lunch, I break my fast at lunch. After breaking my fast at lunch, I make a second bottle of the Unimate. And I drink that second bottle of the Unimate equally over a period of 4 hours to sustain me so that I'm not snacking and what have you. The Unimate also has multiple different properties, helps with brain fog, helps with energy, helps with decreasing cholesterol, helps with gut health, many other helps with burning fat, causes you to lose weight. So many other properties, the GLP-1 property of it too. So I drink 2 bottles of the Unimate a day. Now, for those of you in Europe or in Africa where you have one balance and two Unimate, you're going to take the Unimate, drink the Unimate in the morning, that first 4 hours for you, that first 4 hours when you're fasting. Now, I want to go to the second product. So, when you do that and you extend your fast to 16 hours, you rest insulin. And when you rest insulin, insulin recuperates from its burnout. And insulin can now perform these duties of securing the body's energy needs. When you restore the energy balance, those diseases that were the result of the energy imbalance now go away. And that is how this product helps to reverse insulin resistance. The second thing is the balanced product. The balanced product is actually fiber. Fiber is very important in helping to reverse the energy problem and insulin resistance also. And what fiber does is that fiber decreases your glucose absorption. And why is that important? If you and I ate a bowl of pap, if you and I ate a bowl of pap, and that's you and that's me, pap is a high carbohydrate diet, a high carbohydrate meal. So if you ate a bowl of pap without fiber, your blood sugar will do this, and that blood sugar may be 170. If I ate the same bowl of pap, but I know, oh, you know what? This product is rich in fiber. And by the way, this product called Balance is made out of fiber from 7 different plants. Okay. It also comes in a powder form. So If I decide, okay, I know that fiber is going to bring down my glucose absorption, and I consume the balance and then go to consuming the same amount of pap, what's going to happen to my blood sugar profile is that it's going to look like this. And that blood sugar for me may be a blood sugar of 80. The implications of that are that because you have produced a blood sugar of 170, your pancreas is going to recruit more insulin to go to work to address that blood sugar of 170. For me, my pancreas is going to recruit less insulin to go to work to address that blood sugar of 80. If insulin is burnt out, if insulin is burnt out because of working too much, you do not want insulin, you do not want the pancreas to be recruiting too much insulin. You want the pancreas to be recruiting less insulin. So that's what fiber does. Fiber helps more insulin to be resting, because if only 5 units of insulin are recruited, it means more insulin is resting. And the more insulin rests from its 35% overtime burnout, then it could now become an effective employee for its productivity to go up in securing the body's energy needs again. That's what fiber does to you. The last thing, and I'm going to show you guys how you take the fiber product shortly. The last thing is that fiber helps to reverse the gut imbalance, and that you guys will understand because I clearly mentioned in our earlier in the talk how fiber is food for the gut, and we develop gut imbalance because of the shortage of food. So just by introducing fiber and taking care of the shortage of food issue, there is now enough food for the good, for the bad and the good bacteria, no need for infighting, and that maintains or restores that 50-50 balance. Let me now show you how you take the balanced product. Now, for those of you guys in Europe or in Africa, you get 2 balances and 1 Unimate. So for you, you're going to take 2 balances a day. So you're going to take the balance be 5 to 10 minutes before lunch and 5 to 10 minutes before dinner, because you have 2 balance to take a day. Now, for those in the United States, where your box comes with 2 Unimate, 1 balance, and by the way, you could equally change your preference in the United States to 2 balance, 1 Unimate. But for those in the United States, if you have the package of 2 Unimate, 1 balance, you're going to take that 1 balance at your heaviest meal, either lunch or dinner. If lunch is your heaviest meal, you're going to take it 5 minutes before lunch. If dinner is your heaviest meal, you're going to take it 5 minutes before dinner. And I'll demonstrate. So you fill the bottle right up here to the balance level where it says balance. And you're just going to empty, just like you did with the Unimate, you're going to empty the powder into it. When you empty the powder into it, for this one, the balance, after shaking it, you want to drink it all at once. You don't want to sip on it like you did the Unimate. No, this is meant to be gulped down. 5 to 10 minutes, at least 5 minutes before your meal, because it goes and creates an envelope and a cushion to help decrease your glucose absorption. So you drink it all at once. If you let it sit around, it's gonna get thick and it'll be hard to drink. And then after drinking that, you're ready to have your meal, whatever meal that is. And just taking those 2 products like this will help you reverse the energy problem and the gut problem. And I'm going to start by giving my own testimony. And you guys will see my pictures here. What this did for me, I've been on this for 10 months now, almost 10 months now. What this did for me is that it helped me reverse my high cholesterol. I used to have insomnia. It helped me get my insomnia control. I now sleep very well. It helped me get to my ideal body weight. I was able to lose 14 pounds in 2 months. It has taken away my cravings for unhealthy foods. You see, when you restore your energy balance, the foods that you crave, those unhealthy foods that you crave go away. So, and then I'll end by saying this and then show some pictures. My elderly parents, my dad is 74, my mom is 72. Both of them have been on the product and have been hypertensive for about 30 years of their life. It has restored their energy balance and their blood pressures are now perfect. They no longer need their blood pressure medicines. The reason why we are so sick today is because of these two entities, how our body makes energy and how the gut functions. And if you could restore those two entities, the diseases that came as a result of them will be the diseases that came as a result of them get reversed. Now, I want to end by showing you guys, a few testimonies of people who have done just that. And then we're also going to highlight and answer questions and then highlight and have some of our doctors who are on here to help us in sharing their perspectives or answering some questions. So let me show you a few pictures of some people whose lives have changed forever. So the very first picture, that's me right there. That's my transformation. 14 pounds, which is about 7 kilograms in a space of 2 months, and I look younger. This is my twin sister. My twin sister is in Cameroon. She struggled with her weight. She also struggled with polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, irregular periods, and I was able to send this product to her in Cameroon, and she lost 26 kilograms, sorry, 26 pounds, about 13 kilograms in a space of 2 months. And her PCOS is gone. She's looking younger. This is my cholesterol. This is what this did to my cholesterol in a space of 3 months. My total cholesterol dropped by 64 points in a space of 3 months. When you reorder those two systems, this is my dear friend Natasha. Natasha is a physician, she's a pediatrician, and this is her own journey. She suffered from gut issues, gut imbalance. She also had insulin resistance, skin tag, anxiety, weight. All those things are now history after reordering those two. This is Jim. Jim's A1C went from 12.2 to 5.2. Currently, Jim's A1C is down in the fours. Jim has reversed his diabetes and is no longer diabetic. This is another person. Look at when you reverse your gut imbalance and insulin resistance, you age younger. These are one and the same people. Their skin looks clearer. That's the shine that I'm seeing on Dr. Catherine's face when I see her. Each time I see him, like, you are shining more and more. When you start restoring insulin sensitivity and reordering your gut, you age younger. Your mitochondria causes you to age younger. This is Ro. She's an ICU nurse, was able to reverse her diabetes and lose weight with the same protocol. This is Megan. Megan had irritable bowel syndrome. She had some other mental health issues, anxiety, hair loss. These are all gone. And you can see her before and after picture. Some others. This is Jim. Jim was an alcoholic. He was able to lose his addiction to alcohol. They say some of our addictions, before they become addictions, they're metabolic issues. When you resolve the metabolic issue driving the addiction goes away. Jim is no longer alcohol dependent. And that's his before and after. I love the story of Sue. Sue was going to be put in a nursing home by her family. Why? She was diagnosed with early onset dementia. She started forgetting the names of people that she had known for a long time, and You see, the brain is one of the most metabolic active organs of the body. Even though the brain only weighs 2 grams, the brain requires about 80% or uses about 80% of the body's glucose. So the brain, because the brain has the most need for glucose, the brain is most susceptible when there is a shortage of insulin being able to get glucose into the brain. So she was diagnosed with early onset dementia, and her family was going to put her in a nursing home. She heard about this product, started taking it. 2 months later, she got her life back. Her brain is now sharp, focused, sharp. She's aged younger. The first picture, she looks like a grandmother. The second picture, it'll be hard for you to call her a grandmother. That's what happened to her. And this is a guy who was diabetic, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, was able to reverse all of that. Lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, down 40 pounds, all those things off all the medicines. Lost 155 pounds, reversed type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, blood pressure, no more medications. 70 pounds gone, reversed diabetes, cholesterol, and high triglycerides. This lady had an autoimmune disease, which comes as a result of the gut. She was able to reverse that. This is Kit. I don't think Kit is on here today, but Kit was a diabetic for 25 years. He was on about 25 different medicines, which he's not on anymore. He reverses diabetes, reverses blood pressure issue. Kit has lost over 60 pounds since he started this more than a year ago, and he has gotten his life back. I'm going to warn you, the next picture I'm going to show you is a foot wound, and this is a foot wound of Keith, this guy here, and he was able to achieve healing on this wound because of the Feel Great system. The first picture is a wound in January of 2025, which caused him to become what we call septic, admitted to the hospital, went into a cardiac arrest, had to be resuscitated. And after months and months of treatment, that wound could only heal to the second picture on the top right. 3.5 months after beginning to use the balance and the Unimate, he was able to have wound healing and has been able to now have sensation on that foot, something which he could not before. Amazing what these two products did for him. He's now off all of his medications. This is our friend Beatrice. Beatrice is on the call, and she's been able to reverse her own insulin resistance and is continuing to lose weight and is sharing her story with others. Kids can also take this protocol. Unfortunately, our kids are not immune to our epidemic of obesity and metabolic issues. And this is our host, Dr. Catherine, and she will share her own story of what this has done for her. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I think what I'll do is, Catherine, I'm going to hand this back to you, and then we will spotlight equally Dr. Esther Ngare, who is one of our physicians equally. She's of Kenyan descent, and she'll be able to join us on here to weigh in and answer some questions. So maybe, Catherine, you can start with your own testimony, what this has done for you, and then after that, we can take some questions.
Thank you, Doc. Thanks for an amazing presentation yet again. I think for me, before I speak about my own experience on the protocol so far, I probably want to highlight the reason I got involved with looking into metabolic diseases, and that's how I met you. In August last year, I lost my only brother to diabetes. It was only after his death that I started looking more closely into how diabetics specifically are treated in the health systems in our continent, in our country. And yeah, I was horrified, suffice it to say. So that is the reason I decided it was a good idea for me to test the protocol on myself first, not because I had diabetes, or at least not diagnosed, but because I wanted to see how it would work on my body. And the biggest surprise for me, apart from the transformation in terms of weight loss that has been shown, and that picture that you guys saw, that was a 6 to 7 week uh, 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 time period of me being on the fill grade system between the beginning and what you saw at the end. Currently, I'm in week 10 and I'm continuing to lose weight. But the most important thing that I think has happened in my life, which I didn't even expect this protocol would do. And yes, I believe very strongly that it's because of this protocol. And that is the fact that for the past 4 to 5 years, I've been struggling with lower back pain. And that back pain is entirely gone as I speak to you now. So I think that is the most important one that I would like to share. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Dr. Eston Garrett, if you're on, I want to add you on and highlight you to share equally. Thank you. Let me have you as a spotlight you to share equally your experience on this and what it's been doing for your patients equally. Dr. Esther is of Kenyan descent. I'm glad to be working with her in this mission to help as many people to reclaim their health. Dr. Esther, you have the mic.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Dieter, Dr. Catherine. Thank you for having me. I've been on this protocol now for a year, and the reason I started using it was more for my own health and having struggled with trying to do all the things I was telling my patients to do, the lifestyle change, but really struggling and nothing really sustainable. And it felt like a real chore to just try and be healthy. It came to a head when I decided to do some lab work, and I found my fasting insulin level to be about 50. It was about 52.5. Much as my A1C had always been normal. So this was surprising to me because I was like, I mean, everything else has always been good. But suddenly now I was faced with the fact that I was severely insulin resistant. And so I knew this was diabetes just a few years down the road, and I did not want to go through that. There's diabetes in my family. My mom had diabetes. And so I knew I needed to do something. Around the same time, I just happened to be on a call like this one and heard about this protocol. And for me, the thought of doing something natural that did not, I'm a physician, but believe you me, I know the dangers in medications, and so I will try something natural before I give myself medication. And that's the same thing I encourage my patients to do. So I started on the protocol, and 3 months down the line, my fasting insulin was down to 2.5. I had lost so much weight, and all those things that I found difficult to do, the fasting was now so easy. If anything, now I have to actually schedule my meals to make sure I have lunch and I have dinner, because if I just follow what my body tells me, I may actually not eat, because when I drink this Unimate tea, you don't feel hungry. But you need nutrition. So what I do is I eat 2 wholesome meals at lunch and at dinner, and that's it. No more snacking in between. And so far, 8 inches off my waistline, that pooch that we talk about, the perimenopause women that we sometimes excuse and just say this is part of life, that's all gone. I have lost 30 pounds so far. But more importantly, it's the energy. That fatigue that I had just normalized and made part of my life was completely gone. Uh, I am able to now get up and work out and feel that I can sustain a workout without feeling like I'm completely burnt out. Now, of course, having discovered this, I shared it with my family and with my patients too, because I believe once as a physician, if you find something that works and makes people healthy, it is important to share it with the people who come to you seeking care. And so I always present it to let them know that, hey, this is one way. And you do find a lot of patients who are also leery of just starting medications, because that's what happens. We start medications, and the next time they come in, you're giving them another one. And then the next time, another one. And within 5 years, they have a little bag of medications that they have to keep carrying around. So many people don't want that. And giving them something that actually not only just treats the numbers and the symptoms, but actually makes them feel great at the same time. You find patients, people want to feel good. They want to feel great. That's why we have all these, wellness coaching, weight loss clinics, the little clinics for various things, hormone clinics everywhere. People are just looking to feel good, but they want to feel good and be healthy. And so this protocol helps me empower my patients to actually get healthy and feel good at the same time. So, yep.
All right. Thank you very, very much. I think we've been answering some of the questions in the chat as much as possible. There is a question. Let's see. 1 second. So somebody asked the question, will it help with triple negative cancer? And this is one thing that I want to say about cancers, and then I will answer that question. All cancers require glucose to thrive. And when you have insulin resistance or your insulin is not working well, it causes your cancer cells to have a lot of food, a lot of glucose to thrive. Every cell in the body, the cancer cells and the non-cancer cells, need glucose to thrive. And insulin resistance causes an abundance of glucose that is available for the cancer cells. So what I would say is that this gives you one of the ways in which you can fight your cancer, it's starving it of its food that it needs. So triple negative breast cancer is a very serious cancer. Now, there's a huge genetic component of that with triple negative breast cancer. But if you could take away one of the things that causes the cancer to thrive, which is depriving it of its food source, glucose, by addressing the insulin resistance, it gives your body, it gives you the best chance of surviving. So I'm not going to say it's going to cure your cancer, but you're choking the cancer of its food that it needs to survive. It gives you a better chance of surviving in addition to whatever therapy that your doctors are giving you. Now, so the question, we're going to take a few questions. The question about the person whose mouth got burnt, Odette, please could you unmute? I don't know that question in detail. I'm going to have you unmute and ask the question so that I can get it really. So Odette, I've asked you to unmute.
Okay,
So
Doc. I just did.
ask that question. So
Okay. Someone in Cameroon took the product that I sent for my elder sister. She's on this call, Miss Elsie. So she called me to say there's someone took the product and he said his mouth, developed sore in his mouth. So I was telling her I've never heard that. No one has ever complained about that. So she said no, I should ask the doctors. Maybe it has a side effect. So
yeah, okay. Yeah, there is nothing in the product that should cause you to develop a sore in your mouth from taking it. Now, this is what I'm going to say. Very, very possible that what happened. So sores in the mouth, right? Sores in the mouth, number one, can be one or two things. Can be from vitamin C deficiency or from viral infection. It's very possible that it's just happenstance. It just happened that at the time they started taking the product, they had a symptomatic vitamin D deficiency or maybe a viral infection or what have you. But there is nothing in the ingredient or the physiology that should cause you to have a sore in the mouth. Yeah, so I don't think it's related to taking the product. Now, if he had said that he took the product and he noticed he's having a little bit of heartburn or what have you, I can speak to that because some people take the product and it exacerbates their heartburn, and we have to diminuate or decrease the dose for them to acclimatize based on what version of the Unimate you're taking. But I don't know what to make of the sores in the mouth. I think it just probably is happenstance. It just happened. There's nothing in the ingredient that should cause that.
Okay, Doc.
Doc, if I may interject quickly whilst we're dealing with the clinical questions, and quickly just talk about the issue of availability and logistics, right? Because that's a question that's coming up as well in the chat. So very quickly, please let's note that Unicity right now is only operating in 4 countries on the continent, and that is South Africa, Kenya, Egypt, and Morocco. So those of you in Southern Africa, so we're talking Namibia, Botswana, Lesotho, Eswatini, probably Zimbabwe as well, would have to call product off of South Africa. And the guys in East Africa, you need to call product off of Kenya. So please talk to the person who invited you into this call. I've also shared my number, my WhatsApp number in the chat. You can contact me and we can talk about the logistics of getting product outside of South Africa, because it's kind of difficult, but it's not impossible. So yes, thank you.
Yeah, I want to go back to that cancer question. Somebody said, so you mean consuming sugar is giving food to cancer cells? Directly, yes. And when we consume foods that are not high in fiber, it causes a high amount of anything that we eat, it doesn't have to be sugar that is not high in fiber. Anything that we eat is converted into glucose. If you eat bread, that bread is converted into glucose. So when you have a high amount of glucose in your blood, the processed foods and what have you, you're giving your cancer cells something to feast on and to continue to thrive. Okay. Catherine, I'm going to leave it up to you if we have answered all the questions and if there are any things to address. Bernard, you're asking, how do you get the medication? I want to first of all correct you. This is not a medication. This has no medicines in it. And Doris, you asked the same thing, medication. There is no medication in this. This is a nutraceutical. It is made 100% from plants, no medicine. So the easiest way to get this product is to reach out to the person who invited you to the call. If you're here in the United States or anywhere in the countries where this product is available, reach out to. If you're in Southern Africa, reach out to Catherine or any of the contacts who invited you to the call. Now, for those of you who are in Cameroon and you're interested in the product, we have a little batch of the product that we send from time to time to Cameroon. In fact, there are about 21 boxes right now in Cameroon. So reach out to the person who invited you to the call. They could give you my contact, and I can link up with the link in Cameroon for you to get the product from Cameroon. Lalu, I see you have a hand raised up.
Yes, Lalu has a hand up, so let's give her the mic, please, Doc.
Okay.
Quickly, Ma, we're going to be wrapping up in a couple of minutes. Thank you. And the Krasa Marshall Trust, we have seen your comment. Please get in touch with me. I have shared my number. let us have a conversation tomorrow. We'd be very, very excited to have a conversation with the trust. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Lalu told you to unmute yourself. You could unmute and go ahead, and we'll take this as the last question. And
I don't know if she's struggling to unmute or not, but that's okay.
No, that's okay. Hello.
you have to.
I just wanted to say that just a little bit of explanation in terms of what I experienced. I was having some skin tags, and to my surprise, they seem to be disappearing. And I'm aware that I just want a little bit of explanation because it's exciting. I never want to like say that I'm giving testimonies, whatever, but really I cannot hold my joy.
Okay.
But what's the relationship between this peeling of skin tags and taking the product?
All right, I'll answer that question quickly and we'll wrap up. I'm glad to hear that. It's not a coincidence, okay? Skin tags are one of the symptoms of insulin resistance. When you have insulin resistant, when your body is resistant to insulin, it compensates by making more insulin. If the little insulin that is around, its productivity is not high, the pancreas tries to crank out more insulin to compensate for the fact that the insulin that is around has a low productivity. So in essence, it causes your body to have a high amount of insulin. Now, insulin is like what we call a growth factor hormone. Insulin causes things to proliferate, to grow. And one of the things that it causes to grow is lead your skin cells. So when it causes your skin cells to proliferate and grow, you get skin tags. When you begin to reverse the insulin resistance, the insulin levels go down. The insulin levels now stop acting as a growth hormone. Those skin tags that came as a result of stimulation by too much insulin floating around disappear. Dr. Catherine, could you close us? Lalu, thank you for that testimony. And it's not a coincidence. It's good news. It shows that your insulin resistance is being addressed. And there's probably going to be more in store for you that you're going to realize as your insulin resistance improves. You will realize more things. Thank you. And Dr. Catherine, I want to hand it back over to you to close us. Are you there? Did Dr. Catherine get kicked off? It seems like we lost her. It seems like she got kicked off. Okay, yeah, she just sent me a text message to say she got kicked off. Let's see if we can readmit her to close us. If not, all right. I think let's see what she says. All right, if we're not able to get Dr. Catherine back in, I'm going to close us. So I want to thank all of you guys for being here. You were invited here by somebody. If this is information that has interested you and has given you hope and you want to take action, reach out to the person who invited you today. That person can give you information on the next steps, what you need to do to be able to get access to this product. And we do this call every We do this call every Thursdays at the same time using the same link. So if you were on here today and you heard something and you wish that a friend, a family member could have been here today to equally hear this, please use this same link to invite them to the next call on Thursday. And I'm going to hand the mic to Dr. Catherine to say the final word and close us. And,
Yes.
and Dr. Esther, thank you for your contributions.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Doc. And thank you everyone for coming tonight, especially you guys in South Africa. We are aware that tonight is the night of the SONA address. So we appreciate you taking your time to join us this evening. As Dr. Dida has already said, we do this every week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Our goal is very simple. Our target is to reach 100,000 people with this message this year, 2026. And we need each and everyone on the call today to join hands in spreading this word. So thank you once again. We can't wait to welcome you on this amazing journey of feeling great. And in the meantime, please remember, keep moving, make better choices in terms of what you eat and how you live your life, and give that insulin a rest. Thank you so much and good night.
Right. Good night.